I'm starting my recording again. So then here you are on Diva. So last time you were playing support, this time we're on tank. Is there just so that I remember?
I'm
like,
trying to figure out what I'm good at still, so.
Okay, sounds good. So you're just messing around with a bunch of different characters. Okay. So usually first thing I'd recommend for Reinhardt's is just charge out of spawn most of the time, unless it's charging you into enemies. Most of the time, especially like on control maps, you want to charge out of spawn. This just gets you back to the fight faster, and it also means that you're going to be able to take the most space, rather than just kind of slowly walking forwards.
Touch from afar.
Oh there. You all look like you needed a healing. Don't worry, my friend. I have your shield.
Okay, so first thing I would mention is make sure that we are using our fire strike off of cooldown. So basically every single time that we get it, we should be fire striking, because this is going to be a very good source
Build
of
up ult
damage and ult
charge.
charge. Exactly. Yet here we go like a good 15 seconds before we use it. So we just want to make sure that we're using our fire strike. That way we're actually getting value out of it and doing damage and getting kills and getting ult charge out of it. So we do finally use it in a moment here.
I really don't know how Doomfist versus Reinhardt is supposed to go, but I didn't want my healer to die, so
Yeah,
I was like, it's better I get right there than my healer.
I'd say it's pretty even-ish between. It really depends on the situation.
Is it hot in here?
Okay, pretty solid.
Come out and face me.
Okay, don't be afraid to push off of advantages. So here we are currently up at a 6v4. So right now we are up people. Last time did we talk about how to watch kill feed? And also, yeah, so we talked about that last time. Right now, this is an advantage, so we can start getting a little bit more aggressive, and you don't have to be afraid of pushing up a little bit if you're at an advantage, because now we want to capitalize on that advantage that we have by pushing into them. Now we are down a couple people, so maybe that'd be the only thing.
Not everybody was with me though. I didn't think everybody
so
was coming with me.
If that's the case and people don't come with you, all right, we can always back off of that. But then we also, we have right now we have 3 people into so if you look at this, right, it's 4 people.
Both of the healers and both of their tanks though.
Both of the healers, both of the tanks. I mean, that's also going to mean that they're not going to have a lot of damage to shoot at us, right? That's also, our team isn't lagging too far behind. Our supports can still heal us from here, so Baptiste is still going to be able to help us out. And then I imagine if they see us pushing forwards, they would follow us pretty closely. So in this situation, I think it's about it's doable. It's really it could go either way. Though I would say make sure fire striking. Yeah, there you go.
Let them up.
Okay, so when it comes to shielding, most of the time we're not going to want to just sit there and hard shield for damage. That's not how a character like Reinhardt wants to play, so a couple different reasons why. So first off, all of that damage most of the time isn't going to be getting any kills just because it's random spam damage. So it's not very useful to be shielding. Now there are things that we do want to shield. Times where Reinhardt does want to shield are when he is low, when his teammates are low, so we shield then. We shield against abilities and ultimates. We shield when we are pushing in and backing out. And then we can also shield when we're shielding a ton of spam damage. Like, let's say, for example, we're caught in a grav and they're shooting a ton of damage into us, right? That's where we might want to shield. But we don't want to just shield any old random spam damage, because then our shield just gets melted and we don't have it for when it's for the important damage, which is what we kind of do here. Is we just kind of sit here and shield, and we just kind of just chill, right, and shield it up. Now let's see, do we have our teammate with us? Teammates with us? No, teammates are still sitting a little bit far back, so maybe we don't have to be pushing at the moment, but we are just kind of sitting in place, so we might talk about more in depth on aggression soon. Since we had Fire Strike there, I would Fire Strike through the window real quick. Fire Strike through window does one-shot squishy targets. I'm not sure about 250 actually targets, but it does one-shot squishy targets. So if you Fire Struck a Lucio, he would die with a one-shot. So just, we had it there. Probably could have gone for it. Good shield. Usually you can charge him out of his meteor strikes when he slams down. This is an
Oh, I
easy
didn't
way
know
to secure a
that.
kill. Yep. So like as soon as he's slamming, you can just like for example like right here when you see him
Right when
slamming.
you see the red dot.
Exactly right. So like right here when you see him slamming, we would just charge at the middle of that, and then right as he comes out of it, we can catch him in it, right? So here we end up getting pulse bombs. Let's see, when do we get pulse bombs? So we end up getting pulse bomb
And a
before.
shield got put right in front of me.
So here we get pulse bombs before we shatter, so we just gotta make sure we're paying attention to that. And that's kind of reaction times. And then also the shield has been down for a little while, like the shield's been down since
I
then.
was
So
actually trying to get in front of it, and then the pulse bomb.
mhm,
Like I was trying to get in front of the
the shield.
shield.
So we just want to watch the reaction times, make sure we're paying attention to the pulse bomb there. Charging back from spawn yet again will just get us there much faster. We have not used charge once yet, so I mean we just want to make sure we're actually utilizing the ability.
That's the best you can do. Barrier is giving out.
Mitch is gonna go for the res, I would imagine, maybe.
He just started swinging. I was like, contesting. I'm just gonna swing.
Yeah, make sure we're looking around ourselves. Says here we don't really put our camera anywhere where we can see anything. So let's just say like for example we just turned around and put our camera this way. Well, we don't see anything, and then we can move around move around. Well, now we see Tracer, right? There's only so much of point to contest, and therefore it's very easy to see where people are on point. Yeah, we kind of are putting our camera like all around point, and we never really look on point. So like here we're looking away from point, and then we're looking away from point, and then we're looking away from and now away from point, and now we're looking to point, but she's on the other side, and then we're now we swing on her. So make sure that we're actually just looking to point when we know that she's on point, right? That way we can actually find her sooner rather than later.
Let them up.
See, one shot, just so, just for future references. All right, so we'll have some stuff to talk about. I think I do have some stuff banked up that we might be discussing soon. Okay, I probably recommend coming up right side. Right side is going to get you there faster.
I
And
actually thought I was on the other side of the map in the beginning, so
yeah.
I was kind of confused.
Don't worry, my friends. I am your shield.
Okay, so right now our whole team's
There's nobody
left,
with
so.
me. Yeah, I'm about to
So
drop down. I'm not gonna stay up there.
so this gets into the fact that have you been trying to play other characters besides Reinhardt on the tank role, or just Reinhardt?
I mostly play things that don't aim, so mostly like Ryan and Monkey if I have the option. I sometimes I play other things, but just really
All
I
right.
just choose whatever.
So why don't we talk about team compositions real quick? So I am going to send you a chart in one moment. Okay, so this is just a rough team compositions chart, and actually somebody sent me another one. I need to make a more in-depth one here at some point, but this is just a rough guide here, and it talks about the different team compositions in the game. Are you familiar with what dive, brawl, and spam are?
I think for the most part, so Ryan would be a brawl character.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You aware of what would make up a spam comp?
Um, like my Farah.
Yep. long-ranged characters, right? So, let's talk about on them on those characters or on those
What
compositions and
what
how they
what would
play.
Zen be?
A Zen would be a spam for most firstly a spam character, secondly a dive character, thirdly a brawl character. Because he has long distance shots that allow him to poke people out from a distance very easily, right? Which is what spam is. Is spam is far distance, lots of high damage output. So, um, dive composition would be your fast characters, fast-paced characters, right? How dive composition like operates is very standard. Is they go from far to close, and then they start off slow, and then they get faster and faster and faster off of kills, off of ultimates when they get advantages, right? They're very standard in how they play. Now, brawl and spam is where it gets very interesting how they operate and how they play up against each other. Now, a spam composition, right, like we discussed, is very far-ranged characters. Now, when you are running far-range characters, you want the fight to you want to position far away, right? Because you want to position outside of the range of other characters, and then you also want to take the fight at a very slow pacing because the longer the fight drags out, the more time you have to shoot the enemy team, right? The more time you have to shoot them if you're running far-range characters. So they like to play far and they like to play slow. Now, this is in exact contrast to Brawl, which is the exact opposite. This would be a character like Reinhardt, who you are running, who Reinhardt cannot shoot at a distance, right? He does not have any distance besides his fire strike, and then therefore he needs to be up close to people, and then therefore because he needs to be close to people, that means he has to play fast. Because the longer the fight drags out, the more time he has to just get spammed at and shot and killed, right? So that's how spam versus brawl works, and how they are opposites to each other. Hybrid is just anytime you're running anything that's just kind of all over the place, where it's nothing really in particular. It's you're running like three characters from dive and and then three characters from spam, or two characters from spam, one from brawl. It's just all over the place. You're not really running anything in particular. That's when you're running a hybrid comp, and you're really all playing deathmatchy, and no, and just all you're doing your own stuff. Now let's take that knowledge now to the game that we're currently in. And
Do you remember when I told you that in the beginnings of games is like the part where I have the most trouble like setting up, like figuring out where I'm gonna be?
yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what's going on in the beginning of this one right here. I think I first I thought I was on the other side, so I went through the left side, and then nobody went through the top because I usually go through the right side and just stay on the top like with my
Mhm.
team, let them shoot and just be a shield real quick. But then nobody was there, so then I think I went up there because I saw my Zen right there, and then I think I dropped down, and then I think I walked back up, and everybody comes up with me the
Yep.
second time.
Okay. So real quick, what would you say that our team composition is?
Hybrid.
No, currently we are a spam composition. Because whenever you have four or more characters of one composition, you are that composition. So right now we have a Baptiste who is primarily a spam, secondarily a brawl, Zenyatta who is a spam, McCree who can be spam or brawl, Pharah who is spam, Roadhog who is spam, Reinhardt who is brawl. So currently I just listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spam characters, and then some of them have some brawl aspects to them, like Baptiste, and they're not. Some of them aren't terrible with a brawl. Like I probably say Farah's not good with a brawl, and Zenyatta's okay with a brawl, and Roadhog's okay with a brawl. So like you have some characters that are okay with it, but primarily we are a spam composition, right? And whereas Reinhardt is not a spam character,
What would the
so.
other
Mhm.
team be?
The other team on their side would be, let's see, take a look. So they have Orisa who's spam, Baptiste who's spam, McCree who's spam, Soldier who's spam, Diva and Moya who are not spam. Diva is a mix of dive and brawl. Moya who is a brawl. So I would say primarily they are spam as well.
Okay.
hmm So different characters make up, can be more than one thing, right? They can be like, for example, Baptiste. He works good in a brawl and a spam. He works good in both of those, but he works terribly in a dive, right? So there are different characters work good in different compositions. Reinhardt does not work good in a dive or a spam comp. He works really only in a brawl. And therefore, that's why you're probably going to notice that we're having a very hard time this game, is because of the fact that we're never ever gonna get our team grouped up if they're sitting far back, right? We're never gonna have our team going with us. And on top of that, the enemy team's also gonna be pretty far away. So we're gonna be in this kind of limbo land where they're sitting far away and our team's sitting far away, and we're smack dab there in the middle, and then we don't really have team with us. So what I would say to this, right, is first off, you might be better off running another character. So if you're trying to run other tanks, this might be a better situation to run a monkey, as monkey. Reinhardt is a very hard stuck on brawl, but monkey's a little bit more versatile, where he could work a little bit better with a spam than a Reinhardt can. Even though monkey is primarily a dive character, so this might be a situation where monkey might work a little bit better. Or alternatively, we just play around it, and in this situation, we just probably want to make sure that we're still going in and doing things even if our team's not with us, right? Because that's how Reinhardt
Mhm.
operates. Reinhardt as a character is a brawl character. He plays fast and close, and if we're not playing fast and close, we're not doing anything at all. We're not accomplishing anything. So, and we of course want to make sure that our team has line of sight on us. That is one thing I would say. Like, you want to make sure that they can actually see you if you're going in. So, like, if we were to go in right now, this instant, Baptiste, Zenyatta can't see you. Nobody on the right side can see you. So, at the moment, if we were to engage right now, nobody could see us, right? But let's say, for example, right? I don't know, just as an example, this would never happen. But let's just say our whole team is lined up right here, right on this high ground over here, and they could see us from all the way over there to over here. Well, now that's different because now we can still get their team support. We can still get healed. We can still have their spam damage coming in, right? And we would be still going in. So that would be different. Make sure that if you, while you're engaging, that you have their line of sight, but you don't need them to be right on top of you. That would go against how their characters operate. So you don't need them to be on top of you. Go in anyways. Make sure we're getting aggressive, because if we're just sitting around shielding, then we're going to be much better off on a character like Orisa or Sigma, who can shield and shoot and shield and use abilities, whereas Reinhardt cannot shield and do anything. He can only shield and then not do anything else at all, with his shield. So we want to make sure that we are actually going in and doing things with our gameplay, not just sitting around doing nothing. And then right here, we're just soaking up a bunch of unnecessary damage, and we're engaging when we don't have team support. Now this is different. So
I told the team to go through the other side, so they're going through the other side right now.
Yep, so they went through the other side. So now this is different, right? Here we're just taking a bunch of damage on our shield unnecessarily. But now this is different, because now we have, Baptiste who can see us. We have the entire team over here who's pressuring them and can see us. Now this is perfect time to engage, because if we were to go in now, then we would be only going in with a 1v3, and then we have team support as well. We could also turn around and go for the McCree instead. But instead, I think we end up dropping off the high ground there, which is definitely not the thing to be doing at the moment, because we're up 1.5 right now. We're at an advantage. We have our team support at the moment. I think we might be getting the McCree soon here too, unless he kills your Baptiste. So dropping here is a lack of awareness. We don't understand what's going on around us because we're not looking around us, and then therefore we end up making the poor decision to drop. So we want to make sure we're paying attention to what's happening, because there we should have been getting aggressive, not backing up.
The objective is now active.
Okay, because we still win the fight anyways.
I can't
Okay, we're at
find the
5 minutes.
objective.
Why don't we go over some techie stuff here in the training range? We'll just go over a few things. All right, so let's go in here. So when it comes to swinging, make sure that we're not just aiming at the thing we're trying to swing at. So that means that we're not just going to be doing this, but instead of just doing that, we're going to be swinging our camera so we can hit multiple people at the same time, because that's how Reinhardt does a whole lot of damage, is because he can hit multiple people at the same time. So that means that we're going to be swinging our camera, and how we can do that very efficiently and easily is just follow the beat of your swing. So when it goes left, you go left. When it comes back to the right, we go right. So we're just going to be going back and forth with it. Right, left, left, right. You can do this so efficiently that you can go in and go do a complete 180 with this and hit multiple people at the exact same time, even if they're in complete opposite directions to each other. You can still hit both of them, right, to where we can hit that many people, and therefore be doing a whole lot more damage. right? If we're hitting more people like that. So swing your camera around more often. Now, as well, since your fire strike has a charge up animation, we can charge it up and then pull it around the corner, and then that way we don't have to be out in the open for as long. So that's just a way that we can get a fire strike off without having to just stand here and wait for it. So again, press the button, turn the corner, as it charges up, and then you're not out in the open for as long. Okay. Make sure that when we're holding corners, okay, not out in the open. So last time that we discussed good positioning is usage of cover, yeah. Yep. So if we're holding right here, the same thing applies as Reinhardt, right? If we're holding right here, the entire team behind us also will be holding behind us here, which means that both us and our entire team will be in bad positioning. But if we go over and hold a corner, well, now we encourage our team to stand behind us on the corner, and then that will therefore put them in better positioning because they're going to, for the most part, listen to what we're going to say. Not all the time, but as Reinhardt, we have the most impact over where our team positions out of any other character in the game, right? Like, you're honest, not going to be telling your team where to position, but you will as a Reinhardt. So if we come stand over here, they'll be likely to follow. You can also push your shield halfway through the corner, which will mean that it'll be taking less damage overall. If they can only shoot at half of your shield, that means that your shield will be taking a lot less spam damage, right? Which will mean that it can stay up longer, right? As you've noticed, you might have seen that I've been looking around myself while shielding. Are you familiar with how this tech works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You right click, right?
Mhm.
And hold is it like your shift or something like that?
You hold left click while you're right clicking.
Oh, I thought I had to press something else. I feel like whenever I've done it before, I pressed another thing too. I guess I'm wrong.
Nope. Shift is your charge button. Control is your crouch
I'm
button.
not as
It
young
is
as they
your
used to be.
left click when you look around. So, I recommend just using this tech and making sure we're looking behind us. Is there a couple times where we just didn't notice where our team was at?
That's one tech that I know about, but I always forget to use it.
Yep. So just recommend using that to look and pay attention to where your team's at. And then also before we go push in and get aggressive, we also want to look behind us and check, do we have our team with us? Right? That sort of thing. So next, let's get into, are you familiar with shield topping at all?
Yeah.
Yep. So make sure when we are engaging that we're using that. So that's going to be how you engage and back out. So you shield top when you're going in aggressively, and then you do it when you're backing out as well. If you're trying to back out, of course, you just hard shield if you need to, but that's just when you would shield when how you would shield when you're pushing forwards aggressively. All right, now also just getting back to how Reinhardt wants to play aggressive. Make sure at the beginning of fights, a lot of times at the beginning of fights, we just kind of sit here and shield. And sit here in the in shield. Well, now that means our entire shield is going to get melted, and we're wasting time where we could be doing things. So that means that if we push in, we're not going to have shield to go in or back out with. But if we push in right off the bat, well, now we can shield hop in, get aggressive on them, and then we can shield to back out once we start getting low, and we can get aggressive while we have shield and while we have health, right? We want to make sure where we are getting aggressive when we do have shields and health and at the beginning of fights, not like when we don't have the resources, right? Because then we're not going to be able to actually get aggressive. So a lot of times we just kind of end up sitting around quite a bit at the beginning of fights when we probably want to be getting aggressive. And then I think that is pretty much it. So let's hop back into the game. So we were on Busan. Was it a quick play game?
Hmm.
Now traveling to Busan. Ready for battle. This will heal you. The objective is now.
Okay, use your charge just to get places faster. It's a good movement ability. Here, push forwards and just fire strike down the corridor. No, for some reason we seem to be afraid of the corner. Make sure we're holding up on the corner, because here we want to be able to hold this doorway. This is what you call a choke point. Are you familiar with that term?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a choke point right here, and we want to be able to hold it aggressively because this funnels them all into this tiny little area. We want to basically be standing right on this corner where they can't see us. They cannot shoot at us from here, but as they're coming through, we can swing on them, and we can also peek for fire strikes, right? So we can shield our team, we can swing, we can shoot, all from the cover, like the safety of cover, right? Whereas here we're like backed up really far, which will just kind of
Yeah,
let
I
them through
get
easily.
there. I just take a second while I was thinking.
Mhm. And we also don't seem to notice that they're rotating, so we want to make sure we're paying attention to where they're at, because here we might want to be rotating over to meet them if they're all going left side, right, and getting over on top of them, instead of just sitting here shielding. Right, so this is awareness thing. We should be thinking to ourselves, huh, I only see a Sigma. Where's everybody else at? Oh, I hear behind me. There's people shooting. Someone is dying. They're not there's people in a different direction than just Sigma. So yeah, we do notice now, but it's just really delayed. So we want to make sure we're paying attention to our surroundings, right? And that's awareness. Nice block. Don't make sure we're not getting aggressive when we're 170 HP, right? We want to watch your health bar, request healing, make sure you're getting healed up. Here we are currently, 170, and we need to get team support from our Baptiste and our Zenyatta. Though, where's our Zenyatta? Oh, he's inside the hog. Okay, so we need to get team support from them and healed up, but instead we decide to push forward so we don't have health. This could be a very easy recipe for dying. Aiming, typically mechanics isn't a big thing on Reinhardt, though we do want to just track a bit better. Do you have like a super low sensitivity here on your Reinhardt? So because it seems like we have struggles with turning, like we can't turn very well.
I think my sensitivity is low.
Do you know how low it is?
Let me see. I'm literally on 15.
You're on 15 sensitivity, and then are you on like are you currently playing like on a laptop? Or are you playing on a computer?
Yeah, it's a laptop.
It's a laptop.
Whenever I play as Reinhardt specifically, well, yeah, I think it usually happens when I'm Reinhardt. Like my computer will just crash if I'm like in the middle of everything, like going crazy. So yeah.
That's unfortunate. Do you use like the trackpad or you use a mouse?
I use a mouse.
Okay. Do you have a mouse pad for said mouse? And then if so,
Mm-hmm.
what size would you say it is? Small or large?
It's like a regular sized one. It's not a big one.
Okay. So then I'm trying to think through this. You might want, if you're going to keep a small mouse pad, you might want to up your sensitivity further. Are you aware what your DPI is at all?
No, I'm not.
You're
I
not?
don't know
Okay.
what that is.
DPI is your, basically think of your sensitivity, but for your just regular mouse on your regular computer, just anytime you're doing anything else, how fast is your mouse moving? And then that is adjustable just off of any mouse program, like software that you have. In any case, at the moment, it seems like we have a struggle turning, so we have to take it in one direction here. So either we need to up our sensitivity, as currently it seems as though we have a
I
very
never noticed that, so I'll try it.
yeah. So either we need to up our sensitivity so that we can have an easier time turning with our small mouse pad, or we can get a larger mouse pad and then lower or keep it or lower it and then make sure we're moving our arm around more. As we seem to just like we don't really turn here, and then like and on top of that, like we see McCree goes to our left, and then we like instead of swinging to the left where he's at, we swing to the right instead. So we just completely lose track of the McCree, and that would just be a very easy kill. He'd be dead by then if we just landed those swings. Yeah, we had a very hard time just actually hitting him and connecting with him. Here we're just kind of hard shielding against nothing. Fire strikes as well. I think we first off we need to use them more often, but also we just end up missing a lot of them. Make sure that we're just putting our crosshair, like we're aiming a crosshair where we know people are going to be. Like here, when we know we're in this corner, we know people aren't going to be in this corner right here, so we're fire striking nothing there. So instead we want to pre-aim where we know people are going to be. So if we know people are down this corridor, we can pre-aim right side. So when we turn this corner, we're already aiming straight at them, right? Or if we know there's people left side, we can turn this corner already aiming straight at the person just by lining up our crosshair with them. Here we don't line up our crosshair and we just kind of fire this out a wall. And that seems to have been the trend when it comes to fire strikes, is we just miss a lot of them. So quite honestly, mechanics isn't something that typically you like. It's not something I typically go over with Reinhardt. Yet we end up missing our swings and a lot of our fire strikes. So we do need to work on actually keeping our crosshair on top of people, right? Just in the general area and direction of people. Make sure you're tracking them.
Step right up.
Okay, here we're just kind of chilling and looking behind us for some reason. Keep your attention on the fight and what's in front of us instead of like looking back to point if the fight's happening in front of you. Right, again, we miss the fire strike on the person we're aiming for.
Don't worry, my friend. I am your shield. Is that all?
Cease your resistance.
Let them out.
Okay, very nice. Alright, so that's the game. So, do you have another code we can go over, or did you want to go over the last
You can
one?
do the other one. Yeah. I don't know what that one is.
It's this one, I think it was Rialto.
Welcome to Rialto. Ready for battle.
Alright, so we went a little far forwards there. Alright, so first off, notice how we're not holding the corner. Secondly, go for an
I
early
was
fire
actually
strike.
telling our Lucio to get back. I was like, bro, get back.
If he's being stupid and up there, honestly, you just probably just leave him, because if you push forwards to try to go
I was
save him, then
literally
that
just
puts you.
I was just going up there so I can block shots so he can go back, but he wasn't going back.
And then that's where you get into the issues. Then he's just gonna stay up there, and then that puts your entire team in a poor position. Whereas we can probably just hold a normal position over on the corner. So if somebody's being stupid and isn't wanting to listen, and then just let them be stupid instead of trying to suicide or throw the fight to save them, right? So now he does back up. He's also, keep in mind, that whole time he wasn't in danger of dying, as he wasn't being shot at by anybody in particular, and therefore we just wasted a large portion of our shield shielding nothing in particular, right? It was just a lot of spam damage that was unnecessary. Now we do get some picks here, so maybe we can get in aggressive.
And then he gets rezzed, I think. Yeah.
Yep. We want to make sure we're paying attention to the kill feed, or not the kill feed, the team compositions, as team comps dictate play style. So same thing that we talked about when we talked about how team compositions last round dictate play style. But here, when we know that they have a Mercy, we want to make sure we're watching out for reses, right? Because then that's a res that we could have maybe prevented had we just run at her and pinned her, or run at her and killed her with her swinging, and then therefore we get a kill out of it and stop her from getting the res off. So we just want to make sure we're paying attention to our surroundings and paying attention to the team compositions in the game. Right. On top of that, we're leaving the Mercy, but we don't seem to be remembering that there's a Reinhardt behind us who we can just turn and go and get. Even though Reinhardt got res, we seem to have forgotten that forgotten about his existence here. Okay, very nice.
Watch your back.
Time to raise my APM.
Hardly broken. I need healing.
Okay, there we just didn't shield while we were taking a ton of damage. So like here, when we just kind of dropped shield and stopped swinging, and just kind of stood there while 4 people shot at us and swung at nothing. Make sure that they're within range while we're swinging. Otherwise, we're just sitting there letting them shoot at us for free. So if she's out of range, then we have to put our shield up, and we can either shield hop forwards if we're trying to get aggressive, or we just have to shield ourselves, because there we just took a full like 320 damage when we could have just shielded it, right? And we didn't accomplish anything as a result. And then Reiner just runs at us as a result, mainly just because we took all that initial damage. Watching how we're aiming our fire strikes.
Fall back. Come on. out and face me.
Bad guys. Heads up.
No one can hide from my sight.
Okay. So first off, let's take a look. Do we have our whole team? No, we don't. Make sure that we're not pushing forwards aggressively, right? Look how far the car has to go until they cap, right? This is one basically just don't rush the engagement, right? Um, they have 15-ish seconds until they cap point, and then it's not as though they're going to cap point here, and we're fighting not to win the fight necessarily. We're fighting to stop them from pushing cart and then win the fight, right? That's our objective here, is to stop them from capping point. Now here we immediately go in while we're down 2 people, and while our Zenyatta's half HP and about to die, and therefore we should probably not be pushing in, because we're essentially pushing in when we've already lost the fight to begin with, right? We're pushing in already losing, or have already lost it. So we want to make sure we're not pushing in and we're paying attention to our surroundings before we're pushing, so that we have not looked behind us yet here. So this would be where we would come over here, stand right here, and then look around real quick and see, do I have my team? Oh snap, I don't. And then pay attention to what's happening around us. Also notice how when we do push, first off, we can see Reinhardt through the walls here. We can see the red outline of him through the wall, right? And on top of that, we push out in the middle of the open instead of like maybe pushing forwards and then holding the corner, right? Instead, we just kind of walk straight down main, not using any cover usage, not using the corner, and then therefore getting charged as a result. Yep. So that's just easily preventable in multiple ways.
Get them off me.
Get stabilized.
Come out and face me.
Helden sterben nicht. Yaki param basta de
Okay, holding our shield longer for just nothing, right? And then again, it wastes half our shield. Make sure, I have not seen us shield hopping once, so that's another tech thing where I would probably say that we know that but we just haven't been implementing. So make sure that while we're pushing aggressively, so for example on the Widowmaker, we're shield hopping at her so we can get to her faster. And so we want to close that distance fast while also shielding for ourselves. Make sure you're not flashing up your shield unnecessarily, because then that just stops the recharge process. There we flashed up shield and it didn't do anything at all. Yet that stops our shields from regenerating. Okay.
I don't know why the Zen didn't get hit.
Because your shatter acts as a cone. So notice when we shatter how it spreads outwards. So it starts in this tiny little ball and then spreads this way and that way. And the Zenyatta is on the very edge of it, where it's not actually applicable to hitting him. Now actually it looks like it is, but I think if we like go back a second, because it also has a travel time here. So if we watch it like in slow-mo, you'd probably see it. So at the time of hitting, actually you see the cracks under his feet, but I mean it's whatever. But in any case there, we do shatter semi-late there, whereas we only shatter one person, whereas if we just shattered a second earlier, we probably could have gotten all 3. And then on top of that, just making sure, and then that would have stopped us from taking 300 damage. And then on top of that, make sure that while we're shattering, we're just back a little bit. That way we can get more people inside our cone. Watch your health bar, shield when you're low, pay attention
I
to
was
when
so
you're low.
mad. I was like, bruh. I was like, they're so low.
But so are you. You can maybe stay alive and finish them off if we had shielded, right? Charge out of spawn to get back faster. Okay,
I think I die quick right here.
Make sure we're watching for the turrets, because they are on a Symmetra. That's another part of paying attention to team composition.
I think that I actually changed at the end, because I was like, yeah, no.
And then the other thing is we just don't shield at all. Make sure we're using our shield when we're being shot at from a bunch of different directions, instead of just walking on shield and swinging, right, and fire striking. So there's sometimes where we're shielding when it's not necessary, and then sometimes where it is necessary and we just don't shield at all, right? Fire striking into a wall. I guess maybe we're trying. Never mind. I'm thinking that back that again. We can't see through walls, so maybe we're just trying to pre-fire strike around the corner, see if anybody walks into it. That's definitely a thing that we could have been doing.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Come out and face me.
I was trying to go to block the soldier. I think he still ends up dying.
Okay, this is an instance where we're thinking to ourselves, okay, why are we shielding at all? Okay, because of
I
Baby
started
Diva's
swinging right
shenanigans.
after that.
Yeah, but I mean, we look how long we shield for. So like as of this moment, we should just be running in and swinging because right now it's a 1 2 3 4 versus a 1 2 3, or sorry, 1 2 and a half. Baby Diva counts as a half, and Zenyatta's 1 HP, and Zenyatta's about to die. So if we look at this instance, right, we are at a very massive heavy advantage at the moment. We have therefore won this fight, right? Yeah, we just kind of chill, right, where we 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, swing. So 6 second delay when we could have been swinging all along was just way too
They have
long.
a widow right there, though.
Widow just got back. Widowmaker was not there to begin with. Widowmaker is walking back from spawn currently. And then on top of that, you don't have to be hard shielding a Widow every single moment of the game just because she exists.
I could see her from right there, though, so I just didn't want her to shoot from over there and kill somebody right next to me.
Okay, so let's go to F10. She doesn't have line of sight on anybody next to you. Very slim angle. It's just not worth it. Think of it this way. She has a very low chance to secure a kill here, whereas you have a very high chance to secure 2 kills. You can secure Baby Diva and Reinhardt very easily, and you also have close spawns. Does not matter one bit if she gets a kill on one of your teammates at the moment. You want to be pushing in and securing the 2 kills that you have because that is a much higher value than keeping your teammates alive. And then on top of that, right, we can go back to here and just take a look at this, right? Let's see. No, maybe we saw her, but I mean, at least from our current, maybe the angle looks different, but at least from our current perspective, you can't see her in game or like in the replays here. So it maybe we're blocking for the Widow. Yeah, Widowmaker's not a character that you just are going to sit there and hard shield for the entire game. It's the same concept we talked about before. If you're going to hard shield and just sit there, you're playing the wrong character, right? You want to be going in and swinging and doing things just because that's how Reinhardt operates. You have 2 seconds before that bomb activates. Go and use that time to swing on the Diva. You don't need to be shielding the whole time, and then that can secure the kill before she's able to remech. And you can also swing, maybe you can swing once before the bomb explodes, shield, and then swing another time before she remechs. Just make sure we're getting that kill on her instead of just letting her remech for free. Okay, let's look back on this a little bit. So first, obviously, here shielding unnecessarily, and then secondly here, maybe we can go for a charge play as nobody's looking at us. We just get an easy kill, like, yet again mentioning that I don't know if I've seen us use charge once this game. Also, snap doodles, we're running out of time here. I just completely forgot about that. So let's get to the end real quick because we haven't talked about strengths and weaknesses at all. So main points of the session. Number 1 point, let's see. So number 1 thing, not ults, not ability usage like a medium. For anything, I'd probably say it goes at awareness/aggression. Like most Reinhardts out there, to be honest, that's usually what it accounts as. Awareness/aggression, making sure that we're paying attention to our environments and then getting aggressive accordingly. Watch kill feed, pay attention to what's happening there so we're not making poor decisions. Make sure before we're pushing in, we're paying attention to where our team's at. Pay attention to where our team's at. Look behind us using our shield or just looking behind us before we engage. Pay attention to where the enemy team is at as well. Make sure we're paying attention
Where are good places to like charge inside the last map that we're on? What was the last map though? That was
Rialto.
Rialto.
Anytime you're right next to a wall on somebody, whenever you're close to to a wall, you can get off the charge in pretty much instantaneously. It means that you get an easy 300 damage for half a second of being of not having your shield up, right? So
I would say
boom,
like
super
half the
quick.
time whenever I charge, like half the time it works, and then the other half of the time, like I'll miss and I'll just go really far somewhere else.
And then the reason why you're doing that is because you don't have a wall behind you that you're trying to pin into. You can't go really far if you're doing this into a wall because you have a wall right here. So whenever you're pinning, you need to have a wall that you're trying to pin somebody into. You can't just pin somebody like right here, or you can't pin somebody right there and expect to what, go into that wall or that wall. Secondly, when you are pinning, make sure that we're not doing long distance pins unless it's for movement. Anytime you're going a long distance, you're going to they're gonna have plenty of time to see you coming, to dodge you, to stun you, to shoot at you. So if we're doing this, they're gonna have a ton of time to see that coming, and then they can just stop us very easily. So instead, go for close range charges and the medium range charges sometimes if no one's paying attention to you, and then you can go for long range ones pretty much only for mobility, right? Whereas we didn't use it at all, and it's very applicable. You're not gonna learn how to get better with it if you don't use it at all. It's definitely, trust me, it's an ability that there's no ability in the game that you just don't use at all, right? They each have their own. If there's ability in the game that you never used ever, then people would complain about it, and then they would they'd get reworked and whatnot, right? Charge has its uses, right? Any other questions within that?
Double kill.
No,
Nope.
no. Okay. So pay attention to your surroundings, get aggressive accordingly. Number 2 is going to be your, probably I would say your ability usage. Make sure you're managing your shield correctly. Make sure you're fire striking more often and actually aiming it. Make sure you are actually charging. And then besides that, shield management, there's a bunch of things. Shield when it's actually needed. Don't just sit there and shield for spam damage. Make sure we're getting in aggressive and swinging on things, right? Not just kind of sitting around for nothing in particular. And then make sure we're actually shielding when it's needed. Number 3 is going to be your probably positioning. Make sure we're positioning, using cover. Make sure we're positioning in corners. Make sure we're actually going and doing things. And besides that, there wasn't much else, right? Just doing all that jazz. Then probably say number 4 comes in at ultimate usage. Make sure that we are just going for more people in it, back up so you can hit more people, and then make sure we're using it a little bit earlier and not like when we see the opportunity first instead of just waiting for it. So like when there are 3 people in front of us with no shield, might be a time where you want to shatter a little bit faster. And then finally, last one is just mechanics. Make sure we're keeping our crosshair on top of people, as oftentimes we just kind of lose track of where people were at with our swinging, and then also swing left to right to just get easy cleave value in where you're hitting multiple people at the same time, right? Just any questions at all about anything we've talked about?
Mm.
All right, so then let me stop the recording there.